Okay, so we're going to look specifically at how to predict products for this example. And these are looking at, the examples are number 33 on the study guide that is provided for you guys for the whole first semester. So when you're predicting products, that just means you're going to predict what's on the other side. These are your reactants, and you're going to predict your products or what would happen after the reaction. The only rule that you guys are going to have to remember, because you're basically going to be combining or switching things out, you have to remember like for like. Like replaces like. And what that means is positive replaces positive or negative replaces negative. Okay? You never have a positive replace a negative. If you're not sure how to remember which ones are positive, which ones are negative, basically negatives end up kind of being over here, -1, -2, minus, or I usually say minus, -1, -2, -3. Over here, +1, +2, +3. Okay, that's what we mean. So it tends to be your metals are always positive, non-metals negative. So you have to look at your chart and figure out, okay, sodium is a positive, and the only other one over here is phosphorus. It's a negative, so we know that we have to combine those together because this is going to be a reaction that synthesizes these, so it's going to end up being NaP. Now, the only question left is because we have a positive and a negative, Na has a +1 charge, and P has a -1, -2, -3 charge. So if you have +1 and -3, remember you're going to have to swap them and drop them. And so that's going to end up being Na3P. Okay, so your real equation would be Na plus P. Of course, that is not balanced. I did balance this compound right here, but I did not balance the entire equation. So you would need to go back and balance the equation, but that's for another time. Right now, I'm just trying to show you how to predict products. Same thing here. Let's predict these products. So you've got magnesium plus hydrochloric acid, or HCl. Okay, so magnesium is a metal. It's a plus. Hydrogen is a plus. Chlorine is a minus. So after the reaction, we're going to swap like for like. That means I'm going to find the plus or the minus and the minus. I'm going to switch those two out. In this case, magnesium and hydrogen are both the pluses. So after the reaction, hydrogen would be by itself, and magnesium would be hanging out with chlorine. So it'd be MgCl. The only question is I have to look back at my periodic table, make sure it's that I know that this H is one H by itself, and that this magnesium chloride here is by itself. Okay, so let's start with the H. Well, there's one thing we know, hydrogen and these 7 guys right here, those are called our diatomic elements. So we know that when they're alone in an equation, they're always going to be H2. So you have to make that H2, or it could be O2 or F2, since it's by itself. Okay, the Mg and the Cl, well, here's magnesium. This is our +2 group. And here's chlorine. This is our -1 group. So if we have a +2 and a -1, we're going to swap and drop those, and it's going to end up being MgCl2. Now, again, this is not balanced. You're going to need to go back and balance those out. But the products that you've predicted are H2 and MgCl2, which, if you read that correctly, it'd be magnesium chloride. Okay. The third one down here, this is AgNO3. This is silver nitrate and potassium bromide. So we're going to look and figure out, okay, silver is a metal, so it's a plus. And nitrate is a polyatomic ion on the back of the periodic table. It's a minus. Potassium is a plus, and bromine is a minus. So afterward, we're going to switch the like for like. You can leave the negatives alone. So what we're going to do is say, okay, afterward I had Ag. I'm going to switch it for K. And then I still had NO3. Plus, afterward, I'm going to have Ag and Br. So those are my products. Now I have to make sure that I wrote them correctly. Potassium is a +1. So I'll put a +1 right here. And NO3, need the back of a periodic table here. NO3 is nitrate, so that would be right here is a -1. So +1 and -1, swap and drop, they stay the same. Ag, remember silver is one of those, it's a transition metal, but it's also on the back of your periodic table. Remember silver, zinc, and mercury are back there, as well as cadmium, which we haven't used a lot. Ag is +1. Bromine is in this group right here, -1. So again, swap and drop, they're even. Now, again, these are not balanced, but the formulas are written correct. So you have to make sure that your subscripts are correct before you can make sure that your coefficients are correct. And I'm not focusing on balancing these equations in this video. I'm just focusing on how do you predict the equation or predict the products in your equation. And the most important thing is like for like. So in this case, if you notice, we switched Ag and we switched K. So we know K over here and Ag over here. Okay.